Are you tired of having teammates get run over when the enemies push them? Want to be the anchor to your team? Do you hate getting flanked by enemies? Well, look no further. The Information Master Cypher could be the agent that's perfect for you. His utility allows him to obtain important information that can be used to reinforce bomb sites and help halt pushes. When mastered, he is the strongest anchor agent in the game and allows your teammates to make more plays around the map. He is one of the few agents in the game that can be picked on every map and have a lot of success right now. Hello Epic Gamers, my name is Dan, and today I'm excited to share with you a comprehensive guide on Cypher and the 8 insane tips that our top-ranked Cyphers are currently abusing. If you guys enjoy this type of content, please comment down below which agent you'd like to see next. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to check out the Reyna guide if that's more your taste. Before we dive straight in, as always, we have our question of the day. How do you like the new Elder Flame skins? Personally, I think it's a really unique concept. In Counter-Strike, they didn't really have any weapon skins that have been animated in this way. However, as a competitive person myself, I think that they are a little too distracting for me. I do hope Riot will continue to push out unique skin concepts like this though. Cypher's Tripwire is the only utility in the game that allows your team the presence of mind to push without the immediate worry of early flanks. Without a Cypher on your team, attacking becomes much harder as you can't push parts of the map without worrying about enemies easily flanking you. This is why Cypher sees almost a 100% pick rate at high level of play and is a hard agent to replace. That's good for you because I'm here to help you become a better Cypher. A general rule of thumb to follow with Cypher's Tripwires is to place them during the buy phase at both flanks regardless of the map, making sure to place them in a way that can't be jumpable or crouchable. An easy way to figure this out is by crouching where you will place the trip and line it up slightly above your head level. Beware, some spots in the map can allow players to jump over trips regardless of how well they're placed. Pay attention to any nearby terrain that is elevated, which can allow people to jump over your trips. The staircases in Market of Bind is a common mistake when placing trips there. Besides allowing your team to more freely play aggressive on the attacker side, his tripwires are some of the strongest utilities to stop pushes onto site. Coupled with Cypher's cage, this can make enemies second guess if they want to mess with you. With good tripwire placement, you can make the attackers avoid your site, which allows your team to stack more players on the other site. Once your enemies figure out your tripwires, try moving them back onto site. If they catch on to those tripwires, move them back to the front. Constantly try and mix up your tripwire placements as well as your camera. I'll get into more detail on that when we talk about his camera ability in more detail. So, I mentioned how annoying tripwires can be to the enemies on both the attacker and defender side. Well, besides using them as much as possible to stop enemy flankers or enemies flooding onto your bomb site, look to not only mix up the placement of your tripwires as well as the height of them. I mentioned how moving them forward and backwards can really throw your enemies for a loop. Well, bonus points if you can also make them very low to the ground. This will cause them to have to shoot the trip from different elevations, which will make it harder for them to push. Additionally, you can tripwire a lane on one spot in the map and play another. For example, on Bind B site, you can double trip hookah and have all your defenders play around B long. When these trips get broken, you and your team can fight for B long control. Inversely, you can do the same thing by stacking hookah and giving up B long control. This is even deadlier if you can coordinate crossfires around your teammates to ensure you win your fights easier. If the enemy team has the opportunity to push onto the site, this will allow your team to pinch the team after they have planted the bomb. The easiest way to get a lot of value out of your cages on defense is by placing them near your tripwires. Once an enemy breaks or gets hit by the tripwire, you can activate a cage, which will make enemies second guess if they want to keep pushing. Couple this with a good trip placement, you can secure a ton of easy kills through your own cage. Once your cage is down, any enemy that passes through it will make an audio cue. When you hear this, make sure you try shooting through his cage. It's best to shoot on the edge of your cages as more players will be hugging the edge. Want to master Cypher beyond just throwing your cages down on the ground? Try and learn about the various one-way smokes that Cypher has on different maps. For example, on Ascent, both bomb sites have very solid one-ways. Because of this, Cypher works especially well on that map. Another neat trick you can do is place cages without tripwires and push your tripwires someplace else. Typically, enemies will expect a tripwire if they see a cage nearby, which can stall some time for free without actually having your tripwire there. Doing this later in the rounds can be really effective at tricking your opponent and getting them to hit your new tripwires. The most common mistake I see less experienced Cyphers do is how often they forget to use their cages on the attacker side. Because you are using your tripwires to help deal with flankers, you have the opportunity to use your cages in many ways. I want to first start off with using cages to block off popular areas that enemies like to hold. This allows you to push forward while it's up, and you can sometimes go through it and get some cheeky kills. A great place to do this is on Bind B site, where you can use cages to push forward into the elbow, which can help alleviate a lot of pressure for your team. But in general, especially if your team is lacking a smoke character, try using them simply to block off the sightline for enemies to get easy shots onto your team, pushing into areas of the map. Besides using his cages simply as regular smokes similar to characters like Brimstone and Omen, look to use them more selfishly by double stacking them to cover distance on any part of the map. Similar to what I said previously, you can use cages to block off angles and push with them. However, by stacking them in each other, you can push up through them as you make no audio cues when stepping through your cages. Both of these ways of using cages can be highly effective, and it's fairly situational when one will work over the other. Typically speaking though, if you have a smoke character on your team, you can use this cage stacking technique fairly often to throw off your opponents. Cypher is a masterclass agent at finding information out and being able to help him and his team play better around that information. His camera is his #1 form of utility to scout out key information that can set your team up to win rounds. One of the most popular techniques many high-level ciphers like to employ is the concept of early information scouting with his camera. Because early pushes can be extremely difficult to deal with, using your camera early to scout for a quick execute can help your team rotate necessary players if need be. If you are the type of cipher that is scared to lose their camera early, you will get punished by better teams when they figure out that you aren't scouting for information early. If you scout for information early and your camera is not immediately destroyed, now you can help cover other parts of the map while you check your camera periodically for pushes. However, make sure you are still in relatively safe positions when you check your camera. Another great thing you can do with this camera is by using it early to secure orb control. For example, in showers of Bind A, Cypher can spot anyone early pushing showers. Using an early camera like this will flush out anyone looking to play a close angle in showers. You can secure the orb yourself or give it to another agent like Phoenix, whose ultimate is great at opening up sites. I would say alongside Sova, Cypher is the only other character that has the same potential at scouting for information early without readily exposing his body. He is an excellent agent with an incredible skill ceiling because of his camera, cage, and tripwire mix-ups. Those that love securing information but prefer a more defensive style, then Cypher is definitely the one for you. If you feel like he's a little slow for you, maybe Sova is more up your alley. Okay, so I mentioned how important scouting for information with your camera can be, but what do you do when they constantly break your camera and they're still able to execute on your site for free? Well, if you notice their tendencies, try pulling your camera back onto site in a deeper corner. Since you know they're likely to come anyway, having the camera hidden into a corner can help your team retake the site once the bomb is down. Make sure you aren't constantly checking it until your team is ready to retake, because the camera makes an audio cue every time you open it up. Enemies can also see the camera on the minimap if they're paying attention. So when scouting for information early is starting to get predictable, look to push your camera back and use them for when they push onto site or for retakes. Finally, if you didn't know already, Cypher can activate his cages from his camera. Although Cypher's base kit is what puts him as one of the strongest agents in the game, his ultimate is quite good too. The earlier you use his ultimate, the better it allows your team to play accordingly to the information that you give. Whenever you or your teammate secures a kill, look to rotate towards that body even if you're far away. Because you know exactly where the enemies are holding, there will always be a weak point defensively or offensively. For example, if you use the ultimate in a 5v4, the enemy will have parts of the map that aren't covered at all. This is especially the case on maps like Haven, where there are 5 lanes. Now, with only 4 enemies alive, they can't possibly cover all 5 lanes with 4 people. This is by far the easiest way to help your team further an early pick lead by snowballing it into an offensive push on either the attacker or defender side, depending on where the enemies are located. If you see a lane unattended to, a player alone on a site, or a player caught out of position, these are all perfect situations to make a play around your teammates. Great, so I mentioned how great Cypher's ultimate is at snowballing an early pick lead into a potential round win. Well, his ultimate is just as good at securing round wins. Whenever you find yourself in a 1v2, 2v2, 2v3, etc., look to pop your ultimate so you can know exactly where your enemies are located. This is especially effective when the bomb is down because the enemies defending the bomb won't have much room to change their position, and on the attacker side, you'll know where they will be looking to push onto site. Even if they reposition after the ultimate, it buys time for the bomb to explode when you're on the attacker side, and on defense, it allows you to flush out enemies on site without checking as many angles. To all the Cypher mains out there, we hope this guide helped you learn a thing or two. Additionally, we hope this guide helped to shine a light on those looking to make the switch to Cypher. He's an agent with the exceptional ability to halt pushes down, as well as find information that can help you push or stack sites. There are very few agents out there that are as impactful as Cypher. Implementing the tips we mentioned can easily push you to your next rank promotion. That's all we have for this video. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell notification to ensure that you stay up to date with all of our videos and ahead of the competition. And if you want further help, feel free to check out our website, ProGuides.com, for the best on-demand coaching. Our coaches are among the very best, and we hope you check them out if you enjoyed this video. They will help you with any of your individual Valorant needs and can bring you to the next level. And hey, if that's not your style, make sure to check out our Discord. We have a great community where you can chat, hang out, and possibly find friends to play with. We hope to see you all in future videos, and keep up the grind, ProGuides fam.